Welcome back, everyone. The Florida Panthers just advanced to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time in 27 years. And if you know your history, you'll know that Florida is the 27th state in order of statehood in the United States. And the entire NHL is completely rigged and scripted, 100% to the T, as we're going to once again undeniably prove in this video. As I've talked about at the beginning of the series, it was highly probable that Florida would sweep because we saw that Game 4 was on a Wednesday and Florida could pick up their 37th playoff win all time. We're also going to go back and visit what I said back on August 5th, 2022. That was a video I put out on Patreon. So it's an unlisted video, but we're going to go back and listen to what I said there. And then we're going to watch the goal by Matthew Tkachuk, who scored the winner with 4.3 seconds left, and why he was chosen to score the goal, why he scored on the Panthers' 25th shot of the game, even though they took it away at the end and said the Panthers only finished with 24 shots. But nevertheless, don't take my word for it that the NHL is rigged and scripted. Go ahead and take the advice of a reliable publication like The Athletic. They go on to say the NHL is rigged, but is it rigged for you or against you? Let's find out. And I go on to say 7 months ago, I genuinely did not know that The Athletic was capable of telling the truth. So, let's go through this, and first of all, let's listen to what I said back on August, what is the date here? August 5th, 2022. So let's just listen to what I say here, and then we'll get into this.
Gel. I mean, it's deja vu, guys, only with the Eastern Conference this time. I mean, what do we always talk about every year? Stanley Cup, 136-37. You got to win 12 games to reach the Stanley Cup final.
If you don't know what this is the language of gematria. It's very important to the Jesuits who serve the Catholic Church, which we're going to prove at the end of this video. So what you're looking at are the four base ciphers, the alphabetic order where A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, up to Z is 26. The alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, which is the alphabetic, which means you break every letter down to a single digit. So the alphabetic order broken down to a single digit. When you get to J, the 10th letter, it becomes 1. 1 plus 0 is 1. K, the 11th letter, 1 plus 1 is 2. Z, the 26th letter, 2 plus 6 is 8. You have the reverse alphabetic order. Z is 1, Y is 2, X is 3, back to A is 26. And then the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, which is the reverse alphabetic order broken down to a single digit. So any word, phrase, or letter will have a numerical value attached to it. So let's go ahead and continue.
Last year, the Colorado Avalanche entered the season with 124 playoff wins. We said they're absolutely winning 12, getting to the Stanley Cup, getting that 136 playoff win. And that's why I said all year, even though we were a little uncertain on whether or not they were going to win, I said you better have that future on Colorado. And sure enough, they won it. See, the 37, they code this number every single year. And notice again, Florida Panthers, we said this after they lost and got swept by Tampa in the second round of the playoffs. They stayed on 25 playoff wins. Tampa Bay's 25. But what we said, we're like, look at that. That really sets up the Panthers for next year, because they can now win 12 and get that 37th playoff win, and I'm probably about 90% sure at this point they're going to get it. We have to do a little more research in the NHL, but that's another bet. Florida for the Eastern Conference. You like Colorado last year, because they got the 37 on the board, you better put a future in on them to win the Cup. But yeah, this year's going to be a little trickier in the Western Conference, no doubt. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to figure out who the team's going to be. It reminds me a lot of 2019. The 2018-2019 season, I did not have it for the year. I did not before the year say, hey, it's going to be Blues over Bruins. No way. That year, though, the day after Super Bowl 53, and how they coded that with the 114th World Series and synced it up with the start of the Stanley Cup Finals on Memorial Day, I was like, Boston in the World Series, Boston in the Super Bowl, Boston again in the Stanley Cup. And I saw how perfectly they synced it together. And I said, look at the, again, I got the whole video on it. I don't want to rehash the whole video. If you haven't seen that video, though, go back and check it out. It's one of the best ones I've ever made.
And that is the truth. Again, if you go on YouTube, you type out Luxy_91 St. Louis Blues, it'll come right up.
But, yeah, then we were able to piece the puzzle together in early February. This year, I hope to be able to do it sooner than that. But, yeah, Florida looks like the team in the East. They also play in the, what's it called? Let me see if I can spell it right. I think they call it FLA Live Arena. Yeah, that's it. 106. The 106th season of the NHL. And it's hard to imagine Florida not being there. And just, even though I don't have, and again, Florida also has one of the black NHL players, Anthony Duclair. They signed.
And look, Duclair scored the winning goal, or the first goal, I should say, in this game, 41 seconds in. Something should jump out about that right away. But I think they also got another black player. Didn't they get the guy from Detroit, like Giovanni Smith or something? Like they have. I'm pretty sure they have two black players now. But
kind of do a long-term deal. Remember, 106 is a huge number with Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is 106. Black Power is 106. I Can't Breathe is 106. Black Alone is 106. Huge number. And I have to see if I know they're going to do some rituals with Anthony Duclair. That's like those clowns that run the Hockey Diversity Twitter account, which is basically an anti-whiteism account. It really is. But same thing with NASCAR's Diversity Alliance account, but that's a story for another time. But in light of what they've done with NASCAR.
Okay, so I go on to talk about other things here, but we'll leave it there. And you know what's funny? Back in February, in light of the Super Bowl and Super Bowl 57, after that, when Florida looked like they weren't even going to make the playoffs for the longest time, shouldn't have doubted it after the 2019 St. Louis Blues, right, where they were like the worst team in the league in January, and then they go on to win the Stanley Cup. There was another team in the East that got very interesting after Super Bowl 57. But you know what? When the Stanley Cup concludes, we're going to bring it all together, as we do every single year, and I will be here every single year until the day I die to continue to expose this year after year after year after year. But never go against the 37 when it comes to the Stanley Cup, that's for sure. But let's go through this. So again, Florida, the 27th state in order of statehood. March 3rd, 3-3 was Florida's establishment. And I guess I didn't put it up here, but it's 82 days after Florida. They advanced to the Stanley Cup 82 days after their establishment. From March 3rd to May 24th is 82 days later. Vegas Golden Knights is 82 game season. It is also, they also did advance 136 days after they played the Dallas Stars. So does Dallas have a, does Dallas got a miracle comeback in them? We'll find out tomorrow night. But I'll tell you what, these people, they've made it trickier to call the last three or 4 years or so. But I'll tell you what, the rituals, you can still see how perfectly scripted it is time and time and time again. And it's important to stop investing your time in these games, any sport. Stop wasting your time watching the games, wasting your energy, supporting leagues that murder people. Did you see, in light of Super Bowl 57, did you see the death of the Dallas Stars player? What's his name? The guy who died 57 days after Super Bowl 57 at age 38, when Florida Panthers murder, death, killing, RIP are all 38 again. And we're going to get to Bobby Hall here in a second. So Bobby Hall, right, he drops dead at age 84. And, that's the other thing. This isn't updated yet, but the reason we like Florida to advance today was because they got their 37th playoff win all time. This is not updated. Stanley Cup, Carolina, Wednesday, all 37. It's like, I don't see how that doesn't happen. So Bobby Hall, right? He died January 30th, 124 days before the start of the Stanley Cup Finals, which is June 3rd, right? 6/3 or 3/6. Florida sums to 124. The Panthers just advanced with a 12-4 record in the postseason. And their head coach, Paul Maurice, his birthday is the same day that Bobby Hall died. And notice he just picked up his 53rd win tonight. Again, this is not updated yet, but Hurricanes, Stanley Cup, both 53. And Matthew Tkachuk, who scored the winning goal, which we're going to watch in a second. Hopefully I don't get a copyright strike for it. But notice Matthew Tkachuk, right? Born December 11th, 1997, age 25, scores the winning goal for the Panthers on his 25th shot of the game. They took it away now, and they're only crediting him with 24 shots. But there's no secret why they had 25 on the board when he scored it. And notice it's 201 days to his upcoming birthday. And again, 201 is the number of the Jesuits. The Jesuits run this world. You're on their calendar. You're speaking their language. You're a slave to their currency. And notice, the founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius of Loyola, is 201. Order of Illuminati's 201. The Illuminati's a real thing, founded by Adam Weishaupt, who died 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment. The first Jesuit Pope, Jorge Mario Bergoglio's 201. He lives in Suite 201 at the Domus Sancta Marte. Catholic Pope is also 201. So is the Jesuit order. Anyway, Matthew Tkachuk, you'll see he scores the winning goal with 4.3 seconds remaining. Like how Florida's 43, Panthers is 43. They stay on 43 all-time playoff losses. Let's check it out on Twitter. Let's see here. Did the Panthers update it yet, or do I got to go to the NHL's official site? Okay, let's go to the NHL's official site. It was funny too how hockey's 67 and the NHL expansion happened in 67. The NHL was literally stuck on 6.7 million Twitter followers for like 5 years. It was hysterical. All right, where's the goal at here? Okay. So did you see it? Did you see him stop the clock with exactly 4.3 seconds remaining? And also, did you see how they scored with exactly 67 seconds left on the power play? The big hockey number. So we'll leave it there, guys. Again, these games get more and more ridiculous each and every year. But again, I will see you after the Stanley Cup Finals. We'll see if we get another team advancing tomorrow or if we're going further than that. Till next time, everyone.